Hello and welcome to another, actually it's not, I was going to say Royal Reviewer live chat, but it's not. I've changed. The actual title of these new live chats going forwards is Talk of the Crown. And I need to get used to that because from now on, these live chats, my Royal Reviewer live chats, are going to be known as Talk of the Crown. And I'm calling this live chat, this first episode of Talk of the Crown, episode 1. So welcome to Talk of the Crown. Now I'm going to go and find the chat room as always and see who's here. See if we have our usuals. And wow, what a voluptuous royal week it has been. My list, I don't know about what's in your head, but my list is absolutely full of things to talk about. So Talk of the Crown seems rather apt. I can see Duchess of Cambridge is here, who says hello commoners to everybody. Christine Suckup is here, who says hello. Ingrid says Duchess greetings and salutations. And good day to me, and good day to you too. Bay says hello everyone. David Soriano says hello ex-commoner. We're all not commoners, we're all royal in this room. David Penner says hi Elliot, hello to you David, and H.A. Bracken's here, and Melody, and Eileen Rosenberg, and Bay says hello, love the butterfly. Thank you so much. It is, of course, tomorrow is Mother's Day in the UK. So I have my late grandmother's brooch on, which is a butterfly. And I have my grandmother over there with my father as a baby, which is actually in a Buckingham Palace frame. I bought the actual surround frame from Buckingham Palace, and one of my nan's teacups as well. And the flowers at the back, I'm actually being a little bit cheeky. My mother isn't going to watch this show tonight. So that's actually my Mother's Day flowers for my mom. It's a present. But I thought they looked too gorgeous not to show off. So I'm going to show them off, but it's not going to ruin any Mother's Day surprises because she won't see this until well after tomorrow anyway. So those are my Mother's Day flowers for my own mother. Diamond Danae says hello, and so does Nina. Tim says, okay, I am here. What did I miss? Nothing. I've only just started. The only thing you've missed is I've renamed the show Talk of the Crown. Candice says, hi Elliot, I hope you're doing well. I am, thank you so much, and I hope you are too. History Hardy says, love the new title. Thank you. In fact, I think it was one of your suggestions, because if you check on my main YouTube page, there is now a community section, and I've tried to do at least one posting a day. And one of my postings was to choose or to think about a new title for these live chats. And I'm just going to my comment now to see who thought up Talk of the Crown, because it most definitely wasn't me. I was quite stuck. I was going for Royal Tea Time, but I quite liked Talk of the Crown. Okay, so Talk of the Crown was from Barbara Cox, and it was a comment she made 2 days ago. So thank you to you, Barbara Cox, whoever and wherever you may be. Loretta says hello to you too, and hello to Sue. Christine says the Queen looks so beautiful in her gold this week, and we will get to that. Hold that thought. We have a few more hellos. And Blossom Rose says love your show. Anna Maria says you're from Slovakia. So hello to everyone in Slovakia or wherever you may be. And Vinnie Blair is here too. So now that I've done the hellos, I think we should move on to some royal talk, because after all, we are Talk of the Crown. Although Dahlia Ford, I think we will read this one, says, hi Elliot, new here. Just want to say love your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. David Penner says, okay, I stumbled upon a real good video on why the Windsor won't mention a distant relative. Okay, why the Windsors won't mention a distant relative. Prince John, why doesn't anyone mention him in history? He had mental illness. I don't think it's that people won't mention him. In fact, I think there's been a TV programme out in the UK about Prince John. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it did tell his story in full, including all the details about his mental illness. So I wouldn't say it's not talked about today. I would say at the time, his mental illness was probably hushed up, and it was all hush-hush. But certainly in today's modern Windsor family, there's no reason why anybody wouldn't talk about him. Like I say, there's been a programme too. Donna says hello to you. And we have our resident moderator in the room, otherwise known as His Majesty the King. So make sure you are all well behaved. Again, I say this every single week. I believe in freedom of expression, so you can say whatever comment you want. But once you've made your point, if it is a slightly negative one, I suppose, then just move on. And of course, be kind to everyone in the room, or else Jamie will be called into action. Carla Ray says, found you. You did indeed. Ingrid says, the screen is blank. Please refresh. If anything goes wrong technical wise, I've discovered that one of the best things to do is to refresh or reload. Vinny Blair says, Elliot is giving his hair a final fluffing. No, I'm here. Dawn says, oh, just got a pop-up that said my messages are saved and can be seen later. Okay. I will address the issue last week. Last week, I announced that in the catch-up chat, all the comments on the comment screen, on the chat screen, will be visible. And that is what the little pop-up box told me before I launched last week's chat. Then, after the chat, I went to check, and they hadn't. And there was a little grey box, and it wouldn't let me tick it, which said that comment replay was disabled for my channel. So, of course, I tweeted YouTube to see what the problem was. It turns out I'm not the only one having the problem, and that this feature is being rolled out in phases. And in the UK where I am, we haven't got to that phase yet. So in due course, they haven't told me when, but the comments in the chat room will be available on catch up when you watch this on my channel, not live. But I don't know when. So watch this space, because it could be this week. I don't know until after when it's gone live, or it could be next week or a month or 2 months. I really don't know. But that was the lowdown on that issue. Jamie says, don't think the chat is going to show on the video after it's live. We're supposed to get a pop-up notification when we type on telling us our comments will show after. But you didn't get one. Yeah, so there you go. So that basically confirms what I said, just that it's being rolled out in phases. But that hints at that it's being rolled out in phases to people rather than the channels. So it could be available for you, or it might not. We are just going to have to wait and see. We really are. Catherine says, it's my first time in a live chat. Can't wait to get started. Well, welcome to a live chat. Nina says, I saw that video too, David. Christine says, I think Prince John had epilepsy. And Dawn said, you got a notification. Talisa, is that? Says, hello from Australia. And hello to everyone in Australia, the other side of the world from the UK. Okay, a few people saying they got the pop-up. So after the chat, go check and see if you can re-see this chat screen. Yes, and Ingrid, if you're having trouble, then please refresh. And Joe Bop is in Shanghai. I know the song Shanghai Surprise. And yes, it is very annoying when things don't work, Rachel. It's the bane of my existence for these live chats. Anyway, I am going to go straight into, it is the Earl of Wessex's birthday today. So a big happy birthday, a 54th birthday to His Royal Highness Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex. So yeah, so there was a tweet put out from the royal family, official Twitter, wishing him a happy birthday, and he is indeed 54 years young. Now, the biggest story, and I think we'll get this off at the very start, the very top of the chat, is that there's so much talk on, in print newspapers and online newspapers, tweets, Facebooks, everything. Basically, it just stemmed from Prince Charles on the official biography of Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, removing that little tiny section referring to her, the intent that she may be princess consort, or that she would be likely styled princess consort upon Charles's accession to the throne. That has now gone, and of course that sent the internet into an absolute tizzy, saying that Charles is, you know, making the way for Camilla to be queen and all the rest of it. But basically nothing has changed other than those words have been removed. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think they should ever have been there in the first place. I don't think there should ever have been an announcement made that it was ever intended for Camilla to be styled or titled anything other than Queen Consort, because in UK law, and I've spoken about this many times on these live chats before, is that in British law, the wife of a king is a queen consort. And to get that changed, to call Camilla anything other than Queen Consort, it would have to go through Parliament, and likely get approved by all the Commonwealth countries as well. It's a huge undertaking, and that process has not even been spoken about. It's not even been debated in Parliament, in the British Parliament. So that is not going to happen. It was never going to happen. So just the fact that it was intended, people took that as being confirmation, and of course it's not a confirmation. It was just an intent, and of course intentions can change, and that's what's happened. It's been removed, and it looks like that that Charles and the royal family and the UK government, Parliament, is going to stick with tradition and protocol, and that the wife of a king is going to be a queen consort. So nothing really has changed, because she was always destined to be queen from the moment she married Prince Charles, the heir to the throne. So all this talk and speculation basically is just kind of confirming what I've been saying on this channel for about 1.5 years of my live chats every single week when I'm asked. And now the only thing that kind of bugged me a little bit about the whole story was that the reason given for removing it from an official spokesperson was that people aren't really bothered about that issue anymore, that people don't ask the question. Well, I mean, I really beg to differ on that issue, because on my live chats, people ask me that or speak about it almost every single week. So I would disagree that it's not a big issue in terms of people's interest. I think the interest most definitely is there. So basically, in a nutshell, that is the story. I did make a full review on an article written about it, which is on my channel, so do go and check that out. Ingrid's screen is now working, so that's really, really good. Loretta is in California, and you got the notification. So it's obviously, if you get the chat notification, it's obviously where you are, not where I am. So you may get the chatting catch up. I really do not know. Heath Jarvis says, Christine, yes, I think he died from severe epileptic seizure. Vinny Blair says, so much drama every week for me to start. Yes. I mean, that was a big, big drama, because people are jumping to conclusions that, you know, that, I mean, even there's still talk, you know, that it matters what the public think. And of course it doesn't. In the video where I talk about this in a bit more detail, I talk about the comparisons between Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII, and Charles and Camilla, and Diana, Princess of Wales. So do go and check that video out for more detail. Jamie says 54. He doesn't look a day older than 52. I think he looks I don't think he looks his age. I think he looks quite smart for his age, actually. And doesn't Prince William look like him? Wow, my goodness, Prince William is definitely looking like Prince Edward as he ages. Rachel says, I can see you. Hello. People follow you all over the world. Happy birthday, Prince Edward. You live in Australia. Lots of people wishing Prince Edward a very happy birthday. Eileen Rosenberg says, why is Edward an Earl and not a Duke? Well, upon his wedding, of course, it's customary for a UK prince, or the son of a monarch, to receive a dukedom. And that was offered, but Edward didn't want any of the dukedoms on offer. It was always intended that Edward was going to be given the dukedom of Edinburgh, which of course his father currently holds. So there's no way that he can possess that title while his father is alive. So he took a slightly lesser title, which he was very happy in doing, of the Earl of Wessex. And of course, Sophie became the Countess of Wessex, and they wanted their children to be styled the same style and title as that of an earl. But of course, Edward's children are entitled to be prince and princess, but that's by the by. So yeah, so when the Duke of Edinburgh does pass on, Edward will then become the Duke of Edinburgh. Sophie will be the Duchess of Edinburgh, and their children's styles and titles I don't think will change unless they do take up the princely and princess titles of which their birthright accords them. But that, I don't think that will happen. I think they'll be quite happy with the titles and styles that they already have. And I hope that answers your question. Ingrid says, I think it's wonderful she'll be queen with him king. It was never going to be any other way. And I think this just kind of confirms it. And, you know, all that talk of princess consort just basically muddied the waters. And I'm glad for one it's gone, because it just confuses so many people. Vinnie Blair says, Charles is just a little less than trustworthy. Controversial, Vinnie. Carolyn says, you're quite right. She's going to be queen consort no matter what the rabble think. Well, I wouldn't quite call everyone rabble. But yes, it doesn't matter what public opinion says. It's not Big Brother. We can't vote in who we want just on the basis of how popular they are. It's not a popularity contest. It's a monarchy. Vinnie Blair says, in response to his statement, Rachel says, why is Charles not trustworthy? Vinnie Blair says, he always does things that cause people to question his sincerity, rather. Which things in particular? Rachel Quarrel says, bye for now. Have a great day. Goodbye to you. Jamie says, they had to say she wouldn't be queen at the time. It was the only way to concede to everyone who is still hurt after Diana. But after 20 years, many have moved on, and the old ones have died. Controversial comment. Yes, I mean, I understand that at the time, of course, I was around at the time, there was a lot of ill feeling towards Charles and Camilla as a couple. And of course, you know, in 2005, it was, you know, many years away from Diana's death, but still close enough to still ring a chord with the public. However, I think there would have been a big, huge fuss if they'd have just said she was going to be queen at the time. But I think that would have died down pretty quickly, and we wouldn't have had all these situations up till now where it's the question of will she or won't she be queen. It would have been dealt with right at the time, and it wouldn't have stopped Charles marrying Camilla. I think the 2005 wedding of Charles and Camilla is always going to be one of those set pieces, you know, in time that would have always happened. And had Diana lived, I actually think it would have been easier for Charles and Camilla to get married, because at the same time they could have addressed the issue of Diana's style and title. It would have been the perfect chance to offer Diana back the HRH and possibly change her title, maybe make her a duchess in her own right, or even make her a princess of the United Kingdom in her own right. So instead of being Diana, Princess of Wales, she could have been Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales, and she could have gone back to doing full-time official work. And I think the public would have been happy for Charles to be happy and Diana to be happy in whatever path they chose. But that's by and by the by. That didn't happen. But yeah, I think it would have been better initially to have just not even gone there with the princess consort. Christine says Camilla will be queen, period. Yes, she will indeed. Gabriella says that would be gross to call her queen like we do to Elizabeth. It would be almost blasphemous. Again, another controversial comment. Vinnie Blair says Clarence House should with whatever and stop thinking people are stupid and can be manipulated. I hope I got your comment right. But yes, I mean, it's quite clear to me, and I think probably a lot of other people, that it was, you know, that the word intent was always going to be overridden at some point. Catherine rather, says, I'm an American and I don't get a say, but I'm not sure how I feel about Camilla being queen. I'll check out your article. But it's basically me reading an article and commenting and reviewing it, because obviously the name of this channel is Royal Reviewer. By the way, let me know what you think in the comment section and here in chat as well. about those type of review episodes of my channel, where I review articles of news. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do let me know. David says, I could care less about Charles and Camilla. I'm more interested in Prince William being 21st century king, just my opinion. Jamie says she'll never be equal to Elizabeth II in any way, shape or form, but she is going to be queen. She will indeed. And I think she's actually kind of almost the perfect queen consort, in very much the same way that Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, when she was married to King George VI, she was a very supportive, stable, kind of rock figure behind the king, almost like, I suppose, this strength and stay, as our queen most famously said about Philip. And I think, you know, Camilla is quite quiet. She's never really given any interviews or any gossip herself. She's never really spoken out or exposed anything. So I think she's going to be the perfect, dutiful, strong character supporting the king. And of course, Charles is the sort of character, he's very sensitive, where he needs that kind of strong figure behind him. So I actually think she's quite perfect for the role of being a queen consort, very much in the same way, like I said, that the Queen Mother was when she was consort, and like Queen Mary was as well. Nora says, I think that would be a shame to have two divorced individuals on the throne. Well, let's not forget that in Charles's case, because Diana passed away, whatever your feelings are about divorce, you know, in either sense, whether you believe in divorce or you don't, that marriage ended most definitely with the death of Diana. So it's not two kind of divorced people. I would kind of say it's just one. Jamie says, Her Majesty Queen Camilla. Christine says, Camilla haters will just have to get over it. I'm afraid they kind of will. Jamie says, I just realised if Philip outlives the Queen and then Camilla becomes Queen Consort, does that mean she'll outrank Philip? Surely that wouldn't be fair. I don't think she would officially outrank him. She would be the first lady of the kingdom. But of course, as the wife of the king, you know, they are ranked the highest. Whenever she would be with Charles, she would be ranked higher than any other individual. But Philip would still be a very prominent in the family if that situation happened. And I'm sure would kind of rank just below them. Ingrid said, Prince Edward looks great, and so does Sophie. They do indeed. H.A. Bracken says, Philip won't outlive the Queen. Well, I mean, he does have, you know, a few years ahead, doesn't he? So it's probably unlikely, but who knows? I mean, sometimes with death and couples, you might think that one person may go before the other, and sometimes it turns out completely the opposite way. But who knows on that score? Let's hope there'll be no deaths for a long time. Nina says, do you think we will get to see what Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding invitations look like? I heard that each one was sent in a box. We may get to see after the event. Somebody may post a picture somewhere, but I certainly don't think we'll get to see beforehand. Now, on the subject of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's wedding, we had some news, didn't we, about Meghan's possible or potential hen do. Now, there's lots of names for this. In the UK, we call them a hen do or a hen party. There is also something called a bridal shower, which I think is more popular in America and Canada. And there's also a bachelorette party. Now, I did a little bit of digging on these different things and the meanings behind them. So, officially, the hen do, which people think is quite a British thing, actually originated from America. Yes, hen, or the hens party, is actually an American phrase. Did you know that? Do you still call it a hen party? I don't know whether it's gone out of favour or not, but it has originated from America. So the hen party is kind of the same nowadays as what you would call a bachelorette party. It's where a group of girls go out and have fun, usually, you know, maybe over a weekend or for a weekend night. And the bridal shower is more of a quiet celebration, kind of. So Meghan Markle celebrated her bridal shower. It was actually a bridal shower that she celebrated at Soho House, which is in the Cotswolds in the UK. And it was a farm cottage. Now, when I say cottage, you think of small, but it's actually a rather large house. But it's still called a farm cottage where they can stay. So that she had her close friends and family, maybe not family, I think it was just close friends, over for her bridal shower. And I believe it was mixed as well. So it wasn't just females, I think it was males and females. So that was her bridal shower. She had Sunday lunch as well there. So that's interesting. So Sunday lunch in the UK is usually like what we would call a roast dinner. So vegetables that are boiled, boiled carrots and cabbage and maybe broccoli or cauliflower, Yorkshire puddings, roast potatoes, and some meat, usually beef or chicken or pork, that kind of thing, with gravy on the top. So if you've not had a UK British Sunday lunch, if ever you come over to the UK, please do. And of course, you can visit Soho House too yourself. And so what is still to come with Meghan's kind of hen do parties is her bachelorette hen party, which is expected to be sometime in the next month or so. But of course, we don't know yet, and I will bring you the details as soon as I do. So that's where we're up to on the wedding preparations thus far. Let me go up and see if I've missed any comments. Okay, let me see. I'm just going down. I don't think I missed as many as I thought. Okay, Ingrid says, I hope we will get an Meghan Markle and Harry wedding invitation. You hope you will get one. I hope I get one. Dawn says, I was thinking when William becomes king, am I correct in thinking that Princess Charlotte will become the Princess Royal as long as Anne is no longer alive? Also, can you explain the Princess Royal title? The Princess Royal title it's not an automatic title. So it has to be conferred on a royal, in almost the same way that the Prince of Wales title has to be conferred. The dukedom of Cornwall, which is the heir to the throne's official title, always gets passed down. But actually, you have to be made the Prince of Wales, and usually the heir to the throne is made the Prince of Wales. But that's not always true for the first daughter of the family. That was actually conferred on Princess Anne to be the Princess Royal, but it's not automatic. But you are right in thinking that that title cannot be passed on until the present incumbent is no longer with us. So upon the Princess Royal's death, it would then be possible for Charles or Prince William, whoever is king at that time, to confer that title upon Charlotte, should they wish to, and should, of course, Charlotte want to accept that title and style. And of course, what they usually do is wait until that female member of the royal family is old enough to kind of like take responsibility of that title. Princess Anne, I don't believe she was a child when she had that title. I think she was a little bit older. We'll have to do a little bit of fact check on that one. But yes, it depends how old Charlotte was at the time that title became available. If Charlotte was still a child, then it's likely that she wouldn't be made Princess Royal straight away. It would kind of wait a little bit until she was old enough. David Soriano says, if Princess Anne could become monarch, would Peter and Zara Phillips get a title? Yes, it's possible. Well, they would be entitled to one, most definitely. But whether or not she would want them to is another matter altogether. Oh, and by the way, I made a video this week about Princess Anne looking very similar to her mother, the Queen. And of course, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, that they're related, their mother and daughter, of course, are going to look alike, but the similarity is absolutely striking. So I put a photograph in one of my videos of the Queen and Princess Anne at very similar ages, and I think it was a photo of the Queen in 1993, and they do look very strikingly similar. I've always known that they do look similar, you know, that Princess Anne and the Queen are very alike, but I think as Princess Anne is aging, she's looking even more like the Queen. So do go and check that out and let me know if you think I'm correct, or if you think I'm totally wrong, let me know. Melody says the details of Meghan's baptism seemed very royal. Further evidence Meghan is already considered a part of the family. Yes, now, Meghan's baptism. Now, it was originally reported that she was actually baptised at Kensington Palace by Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, but that wasn't true. It was later revealed that it was in fact St James's Palace in the Chapel Royal. Now, the Chapel Royal is the place where Diana's body rested for almost a week, I believe, before her funeral. So it's very kind of personal for Prince Harry. And of course, a very old chapel within the royal family. And so the service was held at St James's Palace in St George's Chapel, St George being a very important saint for the royal family and England. Of course, it's St George that has a lot to do with the Order of the Garter as well. So she was baptised and confirmed in the Church of England this week. In attendance, it is believed, was Charles and Camilla, Harry, Meghan, of course, Justin Welby, and I believe one of Meghan's friends. So a small gathering. William and Catherine were not believed to be there, although, you know, I would like further details or proof on actually who was in attendance, but I've heard that they were not there. So a very intimate kind of ceremony. Now, the crown jeweller did bring the baptism font, which is a special font, which I think it's kept in the Tower of London. So they used all the original royal paraphernalia to do the baptism. And I think there was a bottle of holy water as well used. And there was also a choir. So if you can imagine the scene and the atmosphere, it would have been very symbolic. And of course, the Queen, and of course, Meghan taking this on to kind of pay homage and tribute to the Queen. So I think it would have been absolutely phenomenal to witness. And I really, really wish I would have been there. And let me see if I've missed any information out about that. I don't think I have. But like I say, it would have been truly amazing to watch. Of course, no idea on what Meghan wore to that occasion. I really don't know. But it would have been very intimate and very special. And also, you know, it goes to show how Meghan Markle is, you know, preparing herself for her royal role and joining the British royal family. Just absolutely incredible. Eileen says, any word on the young Lady Louise? Didn't she have a skiing accident? Yes, she did. That was, what, 3 or 4 weeks ago? Maybe 4 weeks ago. I don't remember. But there's no news is good news. We haven't heard any news, but I think that means that she's okay. But I certainly haven't seen her out and about anywhere. Nina says, I feel bad for Camilla. You like her. Ingrid says, very interesting to watch some of Prince Harry's old videos before he even met Meghan Markle. He was very passionate with people of different ethnic backgrounds, it seems. Yes, I mean, you know, he's most certainly comfortable with anybody of any background. And I think what Meghan's presence is doing for Harry is giving him more confidence. You know, it's like you said, we've seen Prince Harry solo engagements for such a long time that it's really nice and refreshing to see him with a sidekick. You know, he really has found a partner, and it's nice to see him happy and interacting with another person on these engagements. It's really nice to see him and them at work. And of course, their big outing this week was to Birmingham, where they visited Stemets. and we are Coach Corps. Now, Stamets is promoting jobs for young people and women in the sciences and technology fields. So it's very important. And it was also International Women's Day on the day of their Birmingham royal engagement. And Meghan revealed that Prince Harry is a feminist. So Prince Harry waving the banner, he's a very proud feminist. And that engagement went so well. The crowds were just kind of mobbing them almost. You know, there was so much admiration and welcome for them in Birmingham. And Birmingham isn't too far away from where I live. And in fact, I was in Birmingham. In fact, I passed the place where they were, which is Millennium Point, just a day before. I was out with work, and I just wished that that the day out that I had with work would have been on the same day, because I would have loved to have seen or witnessed some of the action. But yes, their Birmingham engagement went absolutely swimmingly, and Meghan's popularity, I think, is just on the up and up. And also, like I say, I think I said last week actually that Meghan's involvement in real life early on before marriage just goes to show how ready she is and how keen the royal family are to welcome her in and integrate her and have her out there just doing the role, which I think she's absolutely perfect for. Holly Anderson says the ill feelings towards Charles and Camilla were unfortunately the results of choices they made. We are all responsible for that which we chose or choose. Ingrid says, so perhaps he wanted to marry anybody of an ethnic background. Yes, I mean, I don't think to Harry it matters what ethnic background you are from. Heather says, I agree. All the previous talk of Princess Consort made everything confusing. I would rather have the truth or the rules being mentioned at the first. I am with you 100%. Betsy says, Elliot, loved your Amazon wish list. Something might be showing up on your door. Oh my goodness. Okay, I totally forgot about the wish list. Yes. So last week, in last week's chat, I mentioned that there is a facility on Amazon to have a wish list. And I said I felt a little bit funny about maybe doing it. Should I do it? Should I not do it? And everyone on the live chat said, just do it. And then obviously anything that's bought for me on the wish list, I will review for the channel, possibly do some giveaways to fans. And of course, there are lots of Meghan and Harry wedding memorabilia and souvenirs that are on the list. So if you want me to review any of those, I mean, there's like a life-size cardboard cutout of Prince Harry and Meghan and the Queen. There's a Queen mask. There's cups and saucers and T-shirts and all kinds of things. T-shirts, everything. There's also some clothing items which I would wear for these live chats as well. So if you want to support the channel and you want anything that you purchase from the wish list, I will review for the channel. Most definitely 100%. So if you want to see a life-size cutout of Prince Harry in the background, then you can make that happen. So if you want to see the wish list link, I have linked it in the description of this video. So do go and check that out if you want to. Jamie says, Camilla should hope her kids don't do anything scandalous. It could quash any ideas of her becoming queen. Again, I don't think it matters whether they did anything. You know, by law, she would still be queen. It doesn't matter what any of her family do. But luckily for her, her family are very well behaved, and also don't tend to speak out either. Betsy says, I do like your new videos, my reviewing videos. Thank you so much. Sue R says, love the reviews. And I'm just absolutely intrigued as to what Betsy has bought from the wish list. I really don't know what she's plumbed for. So thank you, Betsy. Heather says, as an American, I enjoy and appreciate all of the content you put out. I love the butterfly brooch. Thank you so much. There was lots of debate in the past over whether it was mink or not. And I have to say, I still am none the wiser, really. Joe Bob says, I like Camilla. She's shown a lot of restraint and resilience as well. Ingrid says, if Charles was that sensitive, he would not have carried on with Camilla behind Diana's back. Holly Anderson says, last summer's 20th anniversary of Diana's passing unfortunately brought back all the ugly past. However, if Camilla's to be queen, I hope she and Charles will always act with dignity. Well, I think they have. I think, the past years since 2005 have shown that, she's had a lot of dignity. Jamie says, don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm sure Philip won't want to be here to see Camilla outrank him. Possibly not. Definitely, possibly not. David says, what platforms will Prince Harry and Meghan Markle take once they are married? Well, of course, they had the Royal Foundation Forum where they indicated what type of work they might be going into and what type of engagements. But I think all will become really clear following the wedding. There will be announcements made as to what patronages and causes that Meghan will take on. But they're certainly continuing the theme, most definitely with mental health. Mental health is one of the key themes of the Royal Foundation. The first Mrs. R says 2 questions. First, if Her Majesty predeceased Prince Philip, what would he be called, since he would no longer be... well, he's not actually Prince Consort. His official title is the Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh. He would remain His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, and a Prince of the United Kingdom. So actually, no change of title for Philip. Second question, would Camilla outrank Anne in the order of royal precedence? Yes. As the wife of the king, queen consort, she would. The first Mrs. R says, we commonly call it a bachelorette party here in the US. I think they call them hen parties back in the 60s when my mother got married. There you go. So it was originally an American term. Ingrid says, do you make a Sunday lunch? Well, I've not had one today. My family, I mean, actually, it's a little bit less of a tradition these days for families to have their Sunday lunch on Sunday. But usually families in the UK do have that kind of Sunday lunch, maybe a different day in the week. So it could be in the weekday. Lots of people still do a traditional Sunday lunch, but places where you can go and have Sunday lunch, like carveries and that kind of, and restaurants that offer Sunday lunch, are becoming more and more popular because people have busy lives, and moms and dads don't want to spend all of Sunday morning doing the cooking and then some of the afternoon doing the washing. People have busy lives, so the traditional Sunday lunch on a Sunday is kind of, it's becoming less and less. Some people still stick to tradition. Some people go out for Sunday lunch, which is a lot easier, and some people have their Sunday lunch in the week when they've got more time, when it's more convenient for them. Jamie says, Mrs. R, Prince Philip, and he would still be Prince Consort, and yes, Camilla would outrank Anne. Well, he's not technically Prince Consort. He would just carry on being His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh. Heather says, I've never heard of a hen do in the USA. Very interesting. I'm going to research it, and maybe when my girls get married, I'll do a hen do party for your girls, your hens. You will have a gaggle of hens. Ingrid says, it's quite exciting to follow the royals and all that's to come for the rest of our lives, really. Susan says, hello to you, Susan. First Mrs. R says, a bridal shower is where people bring smaller wedding presents. Well, there you go. So Meghan may have had some gifts brought to her. Sue R says, any word on the attendance for the wedding? Really hoping for Charlotte and George to be in there. I believe that Charlotte and George will be part of the bridal party, possibly one of Meghan's friends' children too. Daughter, I do believe. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure. Ingrid says, Elliot, I hope you get an invitation. Silly me. Well, I would like to get one, but I very much doubt it. David says, do any members of the royal family invest money in the stock market? Yes. The Queen herself has a vast, rather large stock market portfolio. Of course, I don't know what the company are that she invests in. That is private. It's part of her private income. But she does indeed have a stock portfolio. I love Camilla says, Itachi bones rather. She's very suitable. Lots of people forget Camilla was with Prince Charles first. Both Charles and Diana and Camilla were victims. Dawn says, so you are saying that Charles can get Charlotte the title And that doesn't have to be William. Give it to her. Interesting. Yes, if Princess Anne was to die whilst Prince Charles was king, not as Prince Charles, as king, then yes, he could. But obviously, if Princess Anne dies when William's king, it would be up to William. I hope that makes sense. Dawn says, oh no, I've read that one. Joyce says, hi all, good day to everyone. Hello to you. Itachi Bone says, because they wanted a virgin, stupid tradition, and the British public is to blame as well. Look at Meghan and how she's accused and her motives questioned just because she is divorced. I think it was easier at the time for Prince Charles to marry a virgin with a completely clean slate, but not many people in today's world have that sort of clean slate. Back way when it was more common, but nowadays people, they have complicated lives, and some people early on in life get married and then find that it's the wrong decision to have made. I do think people should perhaps maybe not rush into marriage so easily as they do nowadays. I think I'm in favour of perhaps long engagements so that you can get to know somebody truly before you marry them, and maybe a few less mistakes will be made. But the reality is it happens. People get divorced. It's not viewed in the same way it was back way when. So just let people get on with it. Heather says, yes, I agree. And as Anne ages, that's a tongue twister, as Anne ages, say that really fast, she looks very similar to Queen Elizabeth. Betsy says, at David Penner, they have a personal financial advisor that invests their money. They do indeed. They have a portfolio that is managed by professionals. David Soriano says, I did not vote for Donald Trump for president of the US, but he won. So now I am learning about the Canadian government and British Parliament and royal family. Yes, I mean, many countries have different forms of governance. Ingrid says, do you think women should dye their hair or just go natural? Oh my goodness, a beauty question. Well, I think it's all about personal choice. Some women and men feel comfortable and confident with their greying hair, and some people don't. And I think, seeing as we have the facility these days to be able to dye our hair, it's one of those simple things that you can do, and if it makes you feel better, do it. And if you're not bothered about it, then don't. I do believe that society shouldn't put pressure on people to perhaps look a certain way or dye their hair or feel like they have to dye their hair, and if they don't dye their hair, they're not looking after themselves properly, and all the rest of it. I just think it's personal choice. If you're happy to go grey, then go grey, and if you're not, then dye it. I mean, I myself have some grey hairs. I am nearly 35 and I do have some, and I myself have thought about, should I get rid of them? Should I obliterate them? Do they need to go on a royal walkabout somewhere and never come back? But I haven't so far. I have resisted. I haven't got that many, but I do have some, and it's just a course of life. Everyone goes grey, and that's just it. The first Mrs. R says, I think spot on. Anne is looking more like her mother, and Charles is looking more like his father as he ages. Jamie says, I'm still hoping the baby will be born on the 21st of April, the Queen's birthday. Perhaps this might be the first time the Queen spends her birthday in hospital. Well, I mean, I didn't find out actually until today myself that the actual due date, Catherine's due date, has been revealed. I don't know from which particular source, but a reliable news agent has said, and I do believe them, that the due date is the 23rd of April, which is St. George's Day. And apparently the Lindo wing, which is where Catherine has her children, is already prepped and ready. Nobody else can go in there, just in case Catherine delivers or goes into labour early. Now, with her two previous pregnancies, they were slightly late. So, with a 23rd due date, expect maybe a 24th, 25th, or 26th actual due date. So maybe royal baby number 3 will appear around those days. And as Jamie rightly said, the 21st is the Queen's birthday. So if baby comes a few days earlier, the Queen could indeed be visiting hospital on her birthday. So let's just wait and see. I mean, really, we do not know whether the baby's going to be early, whether it's going to be late, whether it's going to be on time. We are literally just going to have to see. But at least we have a better indication of roughly when in April it's going to be. It's going to be towards the tail end of April. Heather says, I am the daughter of a Lutheran pastor. I hope I've said that correctly. I assume that Meghan had to take some classes or study about the Church of England before she was confirmed. Yes, I believe so. And in fact, that's indicated in the fact that she's become close friends with Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Now, you don't become close friends with somebody if you've only met them once at the actual baptism. So I believe that she would have had some lessons or teachings from him. And of course, you know, she's had many months, probably 6 months or more, to prepare herself for it. No, maybe that is it. No, actually, I think it's about 4 months, isn't it? Yeah. So from whenever they got engaged, I can't remember the engagement date, but she's had that long to prepare herself for her confirmation. Noreen says, "Did Meghan vote for Donald Trump? I don't know. You will have to ask her." Dawn says, "It's going to be so interesting to see which of Meghan's family will be at the wedding. Her half-sister, I think, has spoken out too much already to be in a good standing with the royals. Just your opinion." I think you're correct, and it will be most definitely interesting to watch. And yes, Nina, I hope her dad is there too. Ingrid says, "Heather, I was just going to inquire about that. I went through 2 years of confirmation to become a Catholic." Well, I don't think she's had 2 years, but I do think she's probably had some one-on-one tuition with the Archbishop of Canterbury. I don't think you can get much higher or prominent than that. So I think she's gone through enough, probably. Midnight Hazel says, "Hello, Elliot and all. Hello to you too." David says, "I'm much more interested in British and European monarch history and facts. I'm so sick of this train wreck we have as a president. It's a disgrace to the US and the world." Joe Bob says, "I bet Meghan's baptism was absolutely beautiful. I think it would have been very atmospheric, to say the least." And I've just lost all my questions, so I'm just going back up. Okay. The first Mrs. R says, "Meghan underwent instruction in the C of E prior to her baptism. I'm not sure for how long." Yes, but she will have had the correct instruction. Midnight Hazel says, "Can you confirm if Harry has met Meghan's father? I saw something about that, but it may have been fake news." As far as I'm aware, he hasn't. But let's hope that the wedding day won't be the first time. Let's hope her father comes over maybe a week or even 2 beforehand, and maybe they can spend some time together. But nothing official has been released that he has met her father yet. And yes, Holly, Meghan Markle was raised in the Episcopalian, is that correct? Church, which is the American branch of the Anglican Church and community. And Betsy confirming that her father is Jewish and her mother is Christian. Ingrid says, "I'm sure the Archbishop of Canterbury spoke with her about much." I think he definitely would have given her all the groundings that she needs. Ren says, "Do you think Meghan will fit in with the British people? It looks like the amount being spent by her on the wedding and some outfits seems a bit extravagant, given the charity work and focus." Well, we don't know how much she spent on the wedding. There has only been media speculation and guess, and we know not to go by that. But we do believe that she is spending and committing some of her own money towards her dress. And again, designer, we don't know yet. Possibly Stella McCartney, maybe somebody American or Canadian. The one of three. It's going to be British, it's going to be American, or it's going to be Canadian. Or she might do a Catherine and have several dresses made. Of course, Catherine changed into her evening gown. She could go British, maybe Stella McCartney for evening gown, and then she may go for American or Canadian as a nod to her beginnings and of course her career as well with Canada. For the actual wedding dress, we really don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I mean, we won't find out officially until the morning of the wedding. Sherry says, hello, and how are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? You loved The Crown and cried on both season when the grandmother came to her. Yes, I did love it, and I cried at most episodes of The Crown. I just got so roused. Lipstick, is that Lipstick Flower says, hello again, and cream cheese Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Ingrid says, what happened to the monarchy in all its beauty from years past? Looked like it's gone forever. I don't know. I think beauty changes, and beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. Loretta says, what is Sarah, Duchess of York, doing? Is she helping with the planning of Princess Eugenie's wedding? I would imagine so. I think she's the sort of mother-in-law that would get right stuck in. And yes, I think she's helping with all the events. And I think she will be at least at the after party, at the wedding reception for the wedding, if not a guest at the actual wedding. I can't see really why not. I think personally she should be a main guest at the actual ceremony. Okay, I'm just skipping down a few questions because I'm quite far behind. Sherry says, I like that she wants to make a speech at the wedding. Well, it is, it is tradition. It is becoming more popular that the bride in a British wedding does make a speech. I don't know about where you are, but I think that will be very good to watch, most definitely, if you were privy to that speech. Christine says, what is the pin I'm wearing? Well, it's actually a very personal pin, and just like I'm wearing my grandmother's things, and I've got my grandmother's photo and my mum's Mother's Day basket out because it's Mother's Day tomorrow. This is a remembrance pin in remembrance of a 16-year-old boy who passed away. He was one of the children in my care that I care for in my day job, and he passed away 2 years ago. And before he passed away, he accessed a hospice charity, and my local hospice charity is called Hope House, and this is a pin badge of Hope House, and it gives hope and respite to families of children that have life-limiting illnesses, of which he had. And on one of my last visits to the hospice to see him, his father gave me this pin badge. And seeing as it was in fact 2 years last Sunday was the anniversary of his passing, so I decided to wear this week to commemorate and remember. Jamie says, Camilla not being queen was a silly thought in the first place. I agree. It would make sense in the order of precedence. Where do you put a wife of a king but not a queen? I completely agree. It was just nonsense from the start and should never have been put out there. Guambi says, hello from Los Angeles. Just wanted to say it's nice to watch you because you dress nicely. Thank you so much. Hardly anyone does that these days, only here briefly. Have a great weekend. Well, have a great brief weekend. Okay, the first Mrs. R says, I've always been Team Camilla, since it was kind of clear that he would have married her if he was able to. Even when Charles and Diana got married, 19-year-old virgins are pretty rare. Yes, I completely agree. Candice says the gifts that guests bring to a bridal shower might be for her home, something more personal or in fact a little naughty. I'd like to see the naughty ones. Showers are often a surprise, and a bride might have more than one shower. Well, we know, I think definitely Meghan's going to have the bridal shower and the bachelorette hen party. whichever you want to call it. But I think you guys in America should go back to calling it hen party, seeing as you invented the term in the first place. Ingrid says, thanks for answering the hair dye question. Don't worry. It just made me think about my own greys. Jamie says, it's quite funny. As queen, she is supposed to do everything right and not put a foot wrong. But in reality, she is supposed to employ the right people and hope they don't step a foot wrong. It's true. It is true indeed. Jamie says, I'm only 16 and have a few grey hairs. Well, okay, maybe I have more than a few. It's more of a clump. I'm admitting my clump. I hide it well. Yes, I have a clump. Like on a horse, when they have different clumps of different coloured horse fur, skin, whatever you put. What do you call it on a horse? I don't really know. What is a horse's fur or skin called? I don't know. Gabriella says, it's been really nice. Good night, everyone, and thank you to our adorable host. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching. And of course, you can, if you do have to leave early, you can always catch up on catch up after the show has finished. SDTN says, I hope George and Charlotte are not in the wedding. Other children should be allowed to participate. Let them stay home. Hopefully Kate will stay there too. Oh no, I don't agree. I think you know, Meghan will want children that mean something to her in her life, and seeing as Harry is their uncle, and of course it's his wedding as well. Let's not forget that it's not just Meghan's wedding; it's Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding. You know, he should have children that he has had a lot to do with at the wedding too. So no, I think as long as they have a mix, so they have some of her choice, some of her children that she knows from her real life, and Harry has some that he knows from real life, then I think that will be good. And maybe 4 would be a good number. Maybe 2 that kind of Meghan's picked and 2 that Harry's picked. Although they could end up with 6. But I think 4 would be a good number. Joe Bob says, did you know that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding date seems to symbolise the birthday of the Queen, Queen Charlotte and King George III's wife? It is believed that she is the first biracial royal. Well, when they say, okay, I did look into this because someone said this on a comment, and I thought, no, I don't think she was biracial. So I went to investigate, and what it turned out was that Queen Charlotte wasn't biracial in the same kind of way that Meghan is, because obviously Meghan has one parent of one race and she has the other parent of another race, making her kind of, I suppose, directly biracial. But Queen Charlotte, you have to go back, I think it said something like 13 or 16 generations where you had the biracial element coming into the family. So she wasn't directly biracial, but she did have black heritage in her family line. So I think there was a little bit of confusion there, because Queen Charlotte wasn't directly biracial in the same way that Meghan is. And I hope that makes sense. And I can't remember how many times back in the family line, up the family tree it was, but it was something like 13 or 16 times. It was quite a long way. The first Mrs. R says, St. Paul is talking about people who worship the Roman pantheon of God, and he associated that worship with all sorts of moral looseness. I like that word. Vinnie Blair says, my confirmation preparation was about 6 weeks, every Friday evening. But like I say, I think Meghan would have had quite intense training. Heather says, how do we access your Amazon wishlist? If you look in the description of this video, either now or when the video has gone live after the chat, I put the link, so you will see that. The first Mrs. R says, I admire how well Meghan is balancing her respect for royal tradition with her. I agree. Midnight Hazel, hello to you, says, I checked in a bit late. Have you commented on the lapel pin and butterfly you're wearing? Yes, I've mentioned this one, and I've mentioned the butterfly. It's my grandmother's, possibly Bink, we don't know. And the tie pin was my granddad's. And I haven't got a tie on, I've got a bow tie, so I've just clipped it on the side, and I believe it's mother of pearl. In fact, can you see? If I get a little bit closer, maybe you can see. But yeah, it's mother of pearl. David says, I heard rumours that Kate Middleton will have twins. I've heard that rumour ever since she was pregnant, and there is no basis for it at all. Again, we are going to have to wait and see. Jamie says, Elliot, check your phone text from mum. Those are nice flowers. No, my mum has not seen the flowers, and she has not texted me. Joyce says, I am not going to give you my contact, but try the Jewish temples around where she and Trevor lived. Okay, talking about the Jewish temples. Nina says, I think the wedding is 7 a.m. for you because you are 5 hours different. Yes, if you want to catch the wedding. Oh, by the way, the wedding is believed possibly to be streamed live from the royal family's YouTube and possibly Facebook too. So again, try and work out what time it is for you if you want to watch it live. And yes, I do believe it is going to be televised. I think that has been confirmed now. The wedding is most definitely going to be televised, but obviously the private wedding reception and stuff after won't be. The first Mrs. says, I'm sure the Duchess of York will be front and centre at Eugenie's wedding. I agree. I think she's going to be bride momzilla. Midnight Hazel says, you are a lovely, caring person. Thank you so much. Ingrid says, that's a beautiful about my pin. The first Mrs. R says, that is so sad, but so beautiful. This is such a nice gesture. Christine says, so sorry, and a nice remembrance. And Joyce says, what is the teacup behind you? I found my Camilla. It is one of my nan's teacups that I inherited. It's my little Mother's Day display behind me. Yes, it's my nan's teacup, and it's actually an old rose design, and it's really lovely. And I have a whole set of them. Ingrid says, what did I have for breakfast and lunch today? Just curious. You're going to have to make me think now. What did I have? Okay, breakfast, I got up a little bit too late for breakfast. So I just had a cup of coffee. And actually, on a weekend, I always start with coffee. On the week, I always have tea. And on the weekend, I always start with coffee. So I got up and had a coffee. I had like a creamy coffee. And I had one sweetener and some milk in it too. And it's an instant coffee, not a plunge coffee. I haven't got time for that. I can't be bothered. It's an instant coffee, but it's called Creamer. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show you what I have. Okay, I haven't gone anywhere. I am here. So, my weekend coffee ritual is this. I have Nescafe Gold Creamer, which I really, really love because it's a little bit more creamy and less bitter. I have one sweetener or one sugar with coffee. I don't have any sugar or sweeteners in tea. I add one spoonful of Nestle Coffee Mate, which is kind of like a powdered milk, but it's more of like a creamer. And then I add normal milk. So I like my coffee quite creamy, and I put 2 little teaspoons of this in a cup. And that's what I have for my coffee drink on the weekend in the morning. Then I might have a cup of tea after that. So then I went to my nan, my other nan, who is still alive, and I went to her bungalow, and we had fish and chips, a traditional fish and chips, British fish and chips from the chip shop, as we call it in the UK, which is like battered fish fried with chips. And when I say chips, I don't mean the type that you have in America. I mean kind of like fries, but fatter and greasier. A very hearty British meal. It's a delicacy. If you come to the UK, do try it. Then for my Sunday tea, my parents cooked it, and I had chili con carne with baked potato and cheese. So there you go. I hope that's piqued your curiosity. Oh, Becky says, it's a coat on a horse. Of course. Of course, I've heard it mentioned a coat. Of course, Christine says horsehair. No, I have heard it referred to as a coat. You are right. I couldn't remember that for some reason. The first Mrs. R says we stopped calling them hen parties because the male was a stag party, and that term carries negative connotations. Does it? I don't think in the UK it does, because we still call them stag and hen parties. No, I don't think it has any negative connotations here. I don't think. First Mrs. R says horses have hides. It says a coat and a hide. Joyce says commemorative cups this week. The horse's hair on a body is called its coat. There we go. And yes, don't forget to hit the like. Every like helps. Give me a big thumbs up. Jamie says Prince George and Charlotte would be Harry's two that he would choose for page. Well, actually, maybe George could be page boy, and maybe Charlotte could be flower girl, and then they could leave 2 extra spaces for bridesmaids. Maybe. Who knows? We are literally going to have to wait and see. Midnight Hazel says I think horses have coats. James says, hi Elliot from New Zealand. I don't think Eugenie and Jack's wedding will be televised. We don't know officially, and no, I don't think it will. But just the same as Zara's wedding, we may see the arrivals and departures. Lady Buckingham says, remember the time change for us here in Canada and the US. So the time for the chat for us will be different next week. Okay, in the UK, the time doesn't go back next week. So if the time changes where you are, please still check what time 10 o'clock GMT is for you. The first Mrs. R says, a naughty present. I got a nightie with matching knickers and a joke book about what to do on the wedding night. My mother was mortified, but the rest of us laughed. I think that's funny and acceptable for a hen or bachelorette party. Vinnie Blair says a lot of fake information about Meghan Markle. People just like to discredit her. They do indeed. David Soriano says, what gender do you want William and Catherine's baby to be and its name? Okay, I think it's going to be a boy. I'm hoping for a boy, and I'm hoping for Arthur. If the baby is a girl, I'm kind of hoping for maybe Victoria. Arthur or Victoria. But I think boy, and I think Arthur, hopefully. The first Mrs. R says it's the old 1 drop of blood rule for Queen Charlotte. Yes, very far back in her history, not in the same way as Meghan. Heather says it would be grand if we could do a watch party for the wedding. It would. In fact, I might do a live chat maybe for the wedding. Okay, I'm trying to catch up on the comments now. The first Mrs. R says, I'm always surprised how many American brands you all have in the UK or vice versa. Jamie says, what a great way to describe your nan. The nan, the ones who's still alive. Well, it's the reality. It's the truth. Obviously, at one point, I had 2 nans, and one is no longer with us. And, you know, I don't shy away from the... You guys know this. I never shy away from the truth. I always say it as it is. Susan says, hi, Elliot. I'm so late. So sorry. Don't worry. You can always watch on catch-up. Ingrid says, we don't have Nescafe Gold Creamer here in the US. How fun you went out for fish and chips with your other nan today. Yes, it was really fun. And in fact, we've had it for several weeks on the run. So maybe next week as well. Ingrid says, am I close with both my parents? Define close. In fact, I'm very, very close because they actually live next door to me. They live in the house next door. So very close indeed. I can probably hear them cough if I strain hard enough through the wall. Betsy says, sorry for this religion talk. Don't worry. You guys carry on. It's fine. The first Mrs. R says, in New York City, there are a couple of Brit expats who have a restaurant called And Battery, where you can get real fish and chips, at least according to friends of mine from the UK. Wow, well, in that case, that might be closer to you. So if you go to New York, find Battery or And Battery, if that's what it's called, and check it out. If they're Brits doing it, then it will probably be the authentic British way. Vinnie Blair says, every time have fish and chips in a restaurant in England, they serve it with mushy peas. Why ruin a good thing? No, mushy peas. Well, actually, okay, let me run through what people can have as options. So in the fish and chip shop, if you go, you can either have your fish and chips plain, or you can have them with salt and vinegar on, which I always have. Then you can have either one of several sauces on top. You can either have curry sauce, you can have gravy, you can have mushy peas, and some places do beans as well, baked beans. The most common or most popular in the UK are mushy peas, gravy, and believe it or not, curry sauce. There you go. But chips with gravy is more of a northern thing, and I think mushy peas is just kind of universal in Britain. Annette says, I love fish and chips, but in New England, not here in Pennsylvania, the fish sucks. Well, traditional British fish for the fish and chip shop is cod, but obviously cod is becoming a little bit more rare these days, so they have tried other fish too. Bay says, what a beautiful story about the pin. Thank you for sharing. So neat. Thank you so much. Jamie says, I can imagine you walking in, hello, Nan that's still alive. I would never. Becky says, what do you think of the stuff about Catherine's hands? People flipping about the saying, oh, okay, I did see the story, and I was going to do a review of the article because I thought it was funny. I think it's just a trick of the camera angle, because it's never been picked up on before in all the years, all the photographs. It's not been picked up on. But yes, in one photograph, her fingers appeared to be the same length. And I don't know if I can make mine do the same thing. I don't know. Let's have a look. But she had her hands in a particular way where all of the fingers looked the same length. Maybe I will do that video on that, and we will go through the article and review it together. But it was quite a funny story, I have to say. Annette says, I love mushy peas. Vinnie Blair says, except that Queen Charlotte looks more African than Meghan Markle. She was descended from the Moors. It was way, 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 way back in her family history. So, you know, maybe she did have some inherited features. I don't know. But yes, it wasn't quite in the same way that Meghan is today. Susan says, lovely, your parents are so close. Ingrid says, how lovely you live close to your folks. Literally there. David Penn says, what's Queen Elizabeth to longevity? I'm curious to know. She's doing something that makes her active. How was her visit with the Prince from Saudi Arabia? Okay, we have to talk about this because it's on my list. So the Queen, let me find where I've put it. Okay, yes, the Queen met Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and she looked amazing for that meeting. But she also hosted the Diamond Jubilee dinner for the Aga Khan. And I think is it Aja or Aga Khan or the Ajia Khan? Anyway, I've called it the Aga Khan. Aga as in the oven. I'm not sure if that's quite right, the quite right pronunciation. But yes, she wore this amazing fuchsia in kind of gold embellished ball gown, and she looked absolutely fabulous in this gown. She's really upped the style stakes recently, and she paired it with this her traditional Lorna handbag, but it was in gold. It was in gold lame, and it was amazing. She had matching gold shoes, and the jewelry, I think, was the King Khalid diamond necklace, and she just looked absolutely stunning. So yes, do go and check out my video where I review that event. So I won't do too much talking about that on here, but do go and check out that video because she looks absolutely stunning, and do comment on that video too. Ingrid says, when I went to school in England, we had Sweaty Betty's fish and chips, and they were wrapped in newspaper. That's a traditional way of wrapping them, yes. Jamie says, do I live close to the nan that's still alive? Yes, about 3 minutes away. Midnight Hazel says, what are mushy peas? Okay, think big, you know, like those big peas, like big garden peas. They're in a can. They've been processed and they've been turned bright green. Okay, it's really hard to describe mushy peas. Okay, Google mushy peas. Google British mushy peas. And they're kind of like mushed. It kind of is what it says on the tin. They are peas, big fat peas that have been blanched and cooked, processed to put in a tin, and then they've had possibly flavorings added and a colorant to make them turn kind of like green, like real green. But they do taste gorgeous with fish and chips. Heather says, I think Her Majesty's being so active every day has to help with her longevity. Also, I think genes might help. I would agree. I think they have got good family genes. Becky Scott says, I looked back through the photos of her fingers with the same length. The middle 3 fingers, I looked through about 100 and you could see it. Well, I will review the article and find out. Patricia Bento says, hello and good evening from the Azores in Portugal. Have you seen the Queen's last gown in the golden bag and shoes? Yes, I made a video on it. I flipped out over it. It was amazing. Wasn't she looking amazing? Yes. And she looked so happy and well as well. And Jamie's saying it's the Aga Khan. The Aga Khan, not the Aga Khan. Well, I was close. Okay, well, what I said passes. It's passable. Vinnie Blair says, when I was a child, they used to serve fish and chips in newspaper. That was hilarious. Especially if you got a page-free article. Ingrid says, I adored her gold outfit. Thank you for that video. You are most welcome. Heather says, I think the Queen looked brilliant, just beautiful. Annette says, the fuchsia gown and gold slippers were fantastic. Vinnie Blair says, correct, Aga, as in the stove. There you go, I was correct. It was the Aga Khan. Christine says, Elliot, could you explain the family order? I don't know much about it. Okay, so the family order is kind of like a personal gift from the monarch. And usually prominent members of the family are gifted one or presented one from the Queen. And it's usually on a little sash, either pink or blue. And it's kind of like a brooch, but with kind of like a miniature portrait of the reigning monarch. And you usually get one for each monarch that you live under. But they have to be gifted from the monarch. So there are still some prominent royals that haven't yet been gifted them, such as Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge. But I'm sure hers is coming. In fact, sometimes you'll see me with a little family order bow that I sometimes wear with my brooches on top. And Dawn made me them. So thank you again, Dawn, for those, because I do really enjoy wearing them. Joyce says, send me your email so I can send you a picture of my Queen Elizabeth commemorative teacups. Okay, if you message me on the YouTube, I will send it to you. I think there is a way on YouTube to private message, because some people have, but I'm not sure where the button is. David Fabiano says, I named my newborn son Elliot after me. Oh my goodness, really? And William after the Duke of Cambridge, and we are deciding for his third name. Which royal name do you think would be a good one? Okay, well, my middle name is William, so you've got Elliot William. Why not go for Philip? Elliot William Philip. There you go. Go for Philip. Wow, I can't believe you've named him after me. Wow, thank you. I feel really honoured. I really do. Jamie says, when Googling big P's, make sure you use P and not a D. Yes. Then again, maybe don't Google big P's either. P-E-A. Mushy P-E-A-S. James Med4 says, Katie's due her family order, having given birth almost to 3 children. Catherine is looking very healthy during her pregnancy, so glad. Yes, and her bump is really, really showing too. Patricia says, do you agree that Catherine is not wearing the same level of good taste? She's tried some very daring gowns that would have been daring whether she was pregnant or not. And I think we all know the ones that we're referring to that looked a little bit like Laura Ashley curtains, maybe. But I think she's being daring. I don't think we should knock her back for being daring. Some things worked, some things were a risk, some things didn't work. But I'm just glad that people are, that Catherine is just experimenting and having fun with fashion, because of course that's what fashion should always be. Yes, she's made some mistakes with it perhaps during the pregnancy, and maybe some controversial choices. Some people loved them, some people hated them. I kind of call it Marmite fashion, because with Marmite you either love it or you hate it. But at least she's doing something with fashion. Susan says 72 people are watching. Hit the like button. Yes, if you're watching, give me a big old thumbs up, because it really does help. Patricia says, I don't agree, but I do notice her aging, which is normal. She's almost 40. That's what happens. I mean, I'm 35 and you notice yourself aging. Where once there was no lines, then one appears. Nina says, is Catherine going on maternity leave? Not for another few weeks at least. I think she will continue to have a fairly busy schedule, maybe even 3 weeks, but definitely not immediately. And I'll get to some upcoming dates in a moment as well. Upcoming engagements for the week. And yes, the Queen does still horse ride, which is most good. Dawn says, I'm very welcome. Frank says, is it true that Meghan chose designers Ralph and Russo for her bridal gown? We don't know. I mean, it could be one of those options that she may have considered. But again, it's added onto that list. We really don't know which one she's gone for until the morning of the wedding, when it's officially revealed, or somebody somehow gets a sneak peek look and it leaks. But it hasn't leaked yet. So I would take that as being a speculation rather than an actual confirmation of designer just yet. Ingrid says, Lady B, I'd love a bow for brooch. See, I told you, Dawn, it would be a good business. You could make bow brooches. Jamie says, Lady Buckingham, you get a free shout out every time he mentions the bow. You do, because I love them. Dawn says, I won't be making any more bows. Were they really tricky? They do look like they had a lot of work go into them, I have to say. Dawn says, I just looked at it close up on the internet pictures and made them, and they are very good copies, I have to say. Jamie is off because his tummy is getting sore, and I will be off too very soon. Let me just make sure that I haven't missed anything off on my list that I really wanted to. Patricia says, how does the Queen get on the horse? We believe she has some kind of staging or steps up, some kind of maybe like a wooden like a wooden ramp that she kind of goes up where the horse is kind of backed into, and then she kind of gets on that way. It would be rather unseemly to be hoiked up by your manservants, I think. Okay, check out the video of the Queen when she came face to face with the Queen Mary II, the cruise ship, that is, model. It was a very good replica, I have to say. Commonwealth Day is coming up on Monday. Now, Commonwealth Day, I will take some time to talk about this because it is very important. If you remember at the last year's Commonwealth Day, that is when there was all the controversy about William and Catherine missing Commonwealth Day. Prince Harry went, William and Catherine didn't. Turned out that Prince William was actually on a ski trip with his friends, and Catherine was on Pippa's hen do, again skiing. So that's why both of them couldn't attend. Anyway, they don't always go to the Commonwealth Day celebrations, but it made the news because they were away basically on holiday for that occasion. So this year they are attending, and I can't believe it's been a whole year since that. I remember sitting here last year talking about it to you guys live. So yes, so they will be attending along with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Again, another indication that she's being catapulted into royal life within the royal family. And it's also significant because it's the first time that Meghan will have attended an official royal event alongside the Queen before even being married. I mean, talk about breaking protocol. I mean, you know, the word protocol is bandied around quite a lot in the media. In reality, there isn't really a lot of set protocols. You know, it is a word that's used a lot to sensationalize things, but it is significant because it's the first time, to my knowledge at least, that this has ever happened. You know, an engaged member of soon to be the royal family attending such a prominent event alongside your future husband and the Queen. Commonwealth Day is very important to Her Majesty. She's been head of the Commonwealth ever since her reign, and of course lots of different nations have joined the Commonwealth over time. It's a huge organization and membership of different countries, kind of like in a big club, and the Queen is head of the Commonwealth. So it's a big, big, big deal for the Queen. So it's a big, big deal to have unmarried Meghan there alongside her. So we are definitely going to be looking forward to that on Monday. And obviously I'm at work, so I will be setting my TV recorder for that. I made a video on Balmoral snow. So if you want a really good white noise, relaxing scene to put on in the background, you will have an hour of Balmoral looped snow. So do go and check that out. And snow sounds. I know some of you are really into snow sounds or water sounds or thunderstorms. There's so many out there that can help you sleep or study or to have on in the background. Sophie Wessex was in Malta this week, and I made a video about her time in Malta and what she got up to. So do go and check that out too. I still have my Patreon, so if you want to get exclusive rewards and behind the scenes content, go to www.patreon.com. There is also an app. Type in the search Royal Reviewer and you will find my channel. And you can choose which level of rewards, which reward tier you want to be. And you're quite welcome to support the channel that way. I also spoke about my wish list, which again, I will review anything for my channel that is purchased off that wish list. And I will also possibly maybe even give some free giveaways, and they could just be random pop-up giveaways, maybe of some of those items. Who knows? And I think that is all that is on my list. Yes, but I will now go into some of the upcoming events. So on Monday, we have the Royal Commonwealth Day celebrations, which I've just spoken about. On Tuesday, William and Harry are at the Met Excellence Awards. That's the police, and that's being held at Kensington Palace. Prince Harry is giving a keynote speech on Thursday the 15th to Veterans of Mental Health Conference, and that's at King's College in London. On Friday the 16th, Prince Harry is attending an Army Aviation Centre to present wings to graduates of the Army training that they've gone through. On Saturday, Prince William and Catherine and are joining as Colonel of the Irish Guards are celebrating St Patrick's Day parade at the Cavalry Barracks. So, and that's only just some of the royal engagements. Of course, the Queen will be doing some, and Charles and Camilla and all the other royals. So do stay tuned to this channel, and I will bring you all the up-to-date news and reviews on all the news and everything royal that's going on. I haven't gotten a chance this week to make my Hyacinth video, my keeping up appearances video, but I aim to do that this week. I really do. Okay, so I am now going to go. I think I've been on for about an hour and a half, and I could really do with a drink. I could do with a cup of tea, I have to say. And now I've been sipping my regular tea, but I am going a little bit hoarse. So from me in Shropshire, please join me next week live at 10 o'clock GMT. Don't forget to check your time if you have a time change. Because I know some people have a time change. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. It really does help and lets me know that you enjoy this video or this type of video. And of course, this was episode 1 of Talk of the Crown. So join me for episode 2 next week. Also share on social media. Again, that really helps. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.